Hello, my friends, and welcome back. Thank you very much for being with me again today. These leaders in the Western world are all panicking that one interview conducted with Putin within 2 years, will be and was obviously broadcasted on their population, which is the Western population, the free population, free world, free people. And they're all freaked out that Putin somehow will have the power of a magician to fool us because he's bad and they are good, and that they will never try to fool us. I have here a few articles with some leaders who express confidence that their population is not going to be fooled. We're smart enough to understand who's who and what's what, and to understand where we have propaganda and we don't have propaganda. The first point that I would like to make on that issue is that if that would be the case, they would not be in charge of us. If the baboon population will be able to really understand when propaganda is vomited on them, then we will not have people like Biden, Kamala Harris, Olaf Scholz, Sunak, Trudeau, and others. We would not have him in office. Therefore, their propaganda works just fine. And somehow they're challenged, they're afraid that Putin's propaganda during one interview might change the baboons' minds, which obviously it will not, because the baboons are bombarded with the same propaganda over and over, and this is one dent that I don't even think that they will bother to listen. Now, probably is going to have other people on the fence thinking, oh, wait a second, let me look into these arguments, but it requires brain, and that's in very small supply on the planet. I mean, we have the brains, but we don't access it. So let me show you here a few articles, starting with this imbecile called Prime Minister of Canada, Justin Trudeau, who tells us, this imbecile, my God. And this is what he says. Prime Minister insists Canadians, and I'm quoting, won't be fooled by Putin's propaganda. Just the mere existence of this guy on a position of power voted by Canadians tells me, yep, they could be fooled very easily. Why? He is, after all, the Prime Minister of Canada, and he is a guy who should not even be, I don't know, helping those children cross the street, when the stop sign, not even that. And I think that's a very important job, though. So here we have this guy. But why? No, he's not going to bother to tell us why. He's probably going to say, because Putin is bad and whatever he says is garbage. These guys are not. Is this a psychological pressure that they do like this? Nobody believes that. You don't believe that either. Well, I'm saying it, so I believe in it. Shut the fuck up. So they try to morally disarm you. Like, no. If you believe this one, that means you fell for their propaganda. But if you listen to me, you didn't fall for it. So you don't want to be called stupid. Therefore, you trust me. You don't trust that guy. Well, this works with kindergarten, right, and with infantile population. The problem is the fact that he says it. He knows who is he dealing with. Why? He was elected twice as a prime minister, this guy. So again, the Canadians won't be fooled. Yeah, I think they will be easily fooled. Sorry, you have this guy as a prime minister. What do you want me to say? Biden the same, so don't try to. Biden the same. I'm not impressed. Baboons are voting. Baboons are leading. Next one. Britain, right here, can defend itself against Russia. Very good, Sunak. And Sunak, so they're ready for war. Sunak also has to say something extra regarding this issue. Here he is. He also says that the UK Prime Minister rejects Putin's pretext for one war in Ukraine. Okay, let's see. Let's see if this guy is providing any evidence to, like in our civilization, when you make a claim, you bring counter-arguments like Putin did. Let's see. UK Prime Minister Maharishi Rishi Sunak has called Russian President Vladimir Putin's claim that the war he has unleashed against Ukraine is the result of NATO expansion clearly ridiculous. Again, clearly ridiculous. You won't be fooled. This is all pressure on your brain. So it's ridiculous. So if you believe that, you're an imbecile, all right? Or you are you're smarter than that, You're smarter than that. So Sunak was quoted the Guardian with reference. Let's say what I said. I'm proud that the UK has stood strongly with Ukraine from the beginning. We can't let this type of behavior go unchecked. It impacts all of our security. And that's why we are working closely, not just with the US, but to allies around the world. Yeah, 30 countries, 40 countries out of 194, great coalition, to give Ukraine the support it needs. And those countries are not willy-nilly coming, right? They are dragged into it. To give Ukraine the support it needs for as long. Okay, did he say anything about it? No. It doesn't say why, right? What is he saying? So, all right, rejects. Rejects what? With what kind of argument? He doesn't provide argument because probably he's tired of parroting the same propaganda. But usually this is the way they do it. They don't bother to answer that. They just go with an attack, and they try to morally disarm you. Like I was saying, you're smarter than that. Have you been told this? I've been told as a child. Oh, you can't do this. You can't. No, you're smarter than that. Well, that's the truth. Well, you can't say that. You're smarter than that. So I'm not supposed to. Yeah, the emperor's new clothes are right on him. Okay, he's not naked. So again, Sunak comes. I gotta tell you this about Sunak. Actually, I can go across the board with the exception. I'm talking about the Western countries. When I say Western countries, I'm talking about Western Europe and the United States and Canada. I'm not talking about the Central Europe or Eastern Europe, because over there we got some smart people too. But why? In the Western world, I can go with Biden, I can go with Sunak, I can go with Scholz, I can go with Trudeau. All these guys are average at best. And they are in charge of us with the lack of propaganda. The only person in the West that really has brains, and he has also his a diplomat, is Macron. As tyrant as he is, because you remember he signed that pension reform by himself. That's 100% example of tyranny, legal tyranny. Well, 80% of his population was against that, and they give me the bill. Go. Everything was clear, legal, nice. Now that's a tyrannical move right there. You can say, well, he's a determined guy. So were other people in the 30s, right? But still made them dictators. So these guys are average. I looked at Sunak and I watched his statements, and I saw his body language when he met diplomats or other leaders, and that he might be smart in certain things, but I don't think he should not be where he's at. Obviously, you can say, well, obviously he's smart because he's where he's at. Well, the same thing you would say about what? Kamala Harris and Biden? Well, if that's the kind of smart, I don't want it. She's too fat for me. You can have her. So nevertheless, again, he rejects. How? Well, we are the good ones, they are the bad guys. Putin bothered, again, if you know anything about the chronology of events, bothered to explain the steps. These guys have no arguments. Why? Because they don't have them. This war should have been avoided, but these guys did not want it to be avoided. Next one. Ukrainska Pravda, another imbecile. This dighead right here. Scholz reacts to Putin's claims in Tucker Carlson interview. So how do you think he's going to react? He's not going to bring arguments or counter-arguments or arguments to support, evidence to support his claims. Nah. Olaf Scholz has stated that the claims Russian President Vladimir Putin made in an interview with American journalist Tucker Carlson show why the Allies must keep supporting Ukraine. When they say why the Allies, that's referring to them over there, not to us. But they lump us together like we are all, we have to. No, you guys want to. You guys want to, we don't have to. So again, the Russian president mocks what Russia is really doing in Ukraine. Okay, I'm waiting for your counter-argument if you have any. And gives a completely absurd explanation about the causes of this war. Like, this makes it all the clearer for us. We must remain firmly on Ukraine's side. So that's absurd, right? Right? Reject, no explanation. And the imbecile You guys are not going to be fooled. I mean, it's a propaganda right there. Next imbecile, the same one. Scholz says Carson interview with Putin tells an, again, absurd story. And the last article that I have here, obviously, Ukrainska Pravda, we get with the opinion makers, which are the supposedly Institute for the Study of War. Putin wants to create hysteria in West and will not give up his goals. This is how I translate this. Putin wants to rock the boat and wake people up from their happy consumer, drug-infested societies we have. That's how I look at it. Putin comes and says things that should not be said out loud, and don't wake up the, ooh, remember that movie, as I often call it, calling into action when I need him. It's the one with Will Smith, I, Hero, I think it is, when after the pandemic, he with his German Shepherd, remember, in New York City, and there's those zombies that stay in the dark, and they're in a state of like this, and when they hear something, clunk, 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 like Putin clunk, saying something, that's exactly how we are. They think. They were like happy consumers, and then we die, and that's it, and they sucked our energy, like the hamsters or the mice going around the spinning wheel. So they want us to be over there. So when you hear someone saying something that doesn't keep us busy working, paying taxes, and shutting the fuck up, you know, consuming and getting doped, then that's just cling, 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 and they might be more alert for about, I don't know, 10 seconds. They don't want that to happen. So that's why they say, wants to create hysteria. This is the hysteria. Don't rock the fucking boat. We're doing just fine. And you too. Keep consuming, being doped, and give us taxes. Now, this is the Institute of Study of War. Garbage. Why? Because look who's in charge of it. And you're going to find a connection between she and her. Or she. Between the boss and I think is the director. She's the sister-in-law of Victoria Nuland, the one in charge of the Institute of Study of War. So that should tell you everything you know about the study that institute is doing, okay, about the war. And these guys are constantly using it. So there's no other accredited, as they want to call it, experts, where they want to use, the Ukrainians, they all use this thing, all of them. Ukrainska Pravda, New Voice of Ukraine, Kiev Independent, they use this, Institute for the Study of War. Why? It was the chosen parrot or the propaganda making machine, and they call it study. And when you hear study, you think it's really study, something scientifically. Nah, it's propaganda. So here you have these guys. I didn't find anything about Biden. Probably he doesn't even know that Putin had an interview with Tucker, or they just keep it low with him. He got a lot of problems, like calling the president of Egypt, the president of Mexico, and all kind of other garbage that this guy is just not there. Now that's a crime. That's a crime. Like you have a judge that is mentally gone and making decisions. I don't think that's criminal. And what's the duty of the people around him? To remove him. And remember, I think Biden should not have been in that, I was about to say elected, put in that place whatsoever. Nothing near any, in a real society, the one that we are told, we live in two parallel realities. One that is the reality, but it's hidden, and there's the reality we live in, which is the fake reality. Oh, we have meritocracy, we have democracy, this is the real thing. But when in practice, that's not what it is. It's an alternative. It's up and down, the up is down, down is up, left is right, and right is left. It's all like that. Look at Biden. Look at this guy. I don't have to look at Trump. I don't have to look at George Bush. I don't have to look at Clinton. These guys are our leaders, and Obama too. These are our leaders elected. How could it be possible in a society that says, well, meritocracy and equality of opportunity, and how? I mean, these are imbeciles. Mediocre at best. So here's the reaction coming from the West. I don't see anything about Macron saying anything about Putin yet, until he's going to be activated. I don't see Biden saying anything. But nevertheless, they don't bother to justify it anymore. Why? Because they worked on the propaganda so hard for about 2.5 years, already that they don't have to really bring the counter arguments. I think these guys don't even bother. Why? One of the best things to destroy an argument is not to give importance to that argument. Ignore it. And then you hope it dies because it's not repeated. And this is going to be a one-time event with Putin. So they're just going to ignore it. So probably in 1 or 2 days, all that Putin interview is going to be gone. The interview, the bulk, the meaning of the interview. But Mr. Tucker Carlson is going to be on the hook. They will destroy little by little, unless Mr. Tucker is part of something that we don't know yet. We can just, we'll find out. Correct? Correct. Time will tell. So here is, my friends. This is the continue doing what you're doing. You're doing great. Don't allow yourself. You're smarter than that. You're not gonna accept Putin's arguments, because we're not gonna give you any more arguments, because we don't have them. We're gonna give you interpretations of the reality, which is Russia bad, we good. You gotta work, and that's it. Screw your economy. In the meantime, we're gonna make a ton of money. Our sponsors, campaign donors, will have billions in profits. It's okay. You too. We all the boats are rising, right? Yeah, okay. Ronald Reagan, I think he was the one, wasn't he? Or one of them anyway, who said that, all boats are rising when the economy is going. Yeah, some of them shoot to the stars, and the other one, if. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Stay strong, stay smart, look for the truth, and be just.